Hello, good morning. Today I will discuss about k-means clustering algorithm. It is a it is an unsupervised learning algorithm that is used to solve the clustering problems in machine learning or data science. It is an unsupervised learning algorithm which groups the unlabeled dataset into different clusters. K defines means K defines the number of predefined clusters that need to be created in the process. As if K is equal to 2, there will be 2 clusters. K is equal to 3, there will be 3 clusters like that. It is an iterative algorithm that divides the unlabeled dataset into K different clusters in such a way that each dataset belongs only one group that has similar properties. It allows us to cluster the data into different groups and a convenient way to discover the categories of groups in the unlabeled dataset on its own without the need for any training. It is a centroid based algorithm where each cluster is associated with a centroid. The main aim of this is to minimize the sum of distances between the data point and their corresponding cluster. Means, see, start with k centroids by putting them at a random place. Here k is equal to 2. We have data set. We want to create clusters of that data set. For this purpose we have to take k is equal to 2, means number of clusters. Therefore 2 clusters, therefore 2 centroids are required to divide the data. These are the 2 random points we have to take, and see the distance between these points from these centroids. Which is the near distance, which point is near to that centroid, it is it is clubbed into that cluster. Like that, we have to trial and error, we have to do change the centroids and create the clusters, create the proper clusters. And for that purpose we have to calculate sum of squared error. SSE1 is equal to summation of I goes from 0 to n, distance of xi minus c1 square, means centroid point and all the points, distance between centroid and the points, and square of that, it calculates sum of squared error for that centroid, for that cluster. Then suppose we have to take 1 to 10 clusters and calculate different SSE for every cluster. And SSE is equal to first SSE, second SSE, and up to last cluster, it calculates SSE. And to find the perfect number of clusters, for this we have to draw the graph of k number of clusters and SSE. Then see this graph, here elbow technique is there, and this, see that this point from this graph, that is 4 clusters. This is the number which is the proper clusters for given data. This is the method to find out the proper specific cluster number for the data. Elbow technique is there to find out. First we have to calculate SSE for 1 to 11 clusters and then draw that clusters and SSE, and then elbow method, using elbow method, see this point, and this point gives number of clusters, correct number of clusters. See, in machine learning and using Python, how to do that. See here, First of all, we have to import the libraries. From sklearn.cluster, import kmeans. Import pandas as pd. From sklearn.preprocessing, import min max scalar. From matplotlib, import pyplot as plt. Matplotlib inline. I have already explained some of the concepts previously. df is equal to pd.read.csv. You can search income.csv on net and upload. If you use Colab, then upload this file here. Here upload, and from your local system you can upload this data and upload this file. Suppose income.csv. It can upload. See, after uploading, and see the path, copy path, and this, paste this path here for the file. Is it okay? pd.read_csv path is content sample data income.csv. If you use Colab, otherwise you can use Jupyter Notebook from your local system. Then df.head, it display first 5 records from the dataset. It contains name, age and income. Then scatter plot, using scatter plot and x label age, y label income dollar. It shows 3 clusters. Scattering of plot, it shows 3 clusters, but scaling of age and income is not correct. 27.5, 30, 32.5, 42.5. Therefore, the clusters are not correct here. Therefore, we want to scaling that data. Km is equal to k means n cluster. Suppose we give cluster number is equal to 3. Km is equal to k means n clusters is equal to 3. Pass the parameter number of clusters. Y predicted, we have to create the model and fit the model here. Y predicted is equal to km.fit predict df age and income. Then y predicted, it shows this array 3 clusters 0, 1, 2, and data is belong to 0, 2 or 1. Then df cluster is equal to y predicted. We have to store y predicted into cluster, and then df dot head, it shows first 5 records and cluster. This data, this record data belongs to 0 cluster. This record belongs to second cluster, first cluster, like that. It shows that cluster number. But here the data is not scaled. Income is 70,000 and age is 27. Scaling is required for the data. Therefore, first of all, see the centroids. km.cluster centers. 3 clusters, therefore 3 centroids are there. These are the first centroid, this is the xy, second xy for the second centroid, and third centroid xy. We have to create 3 clusters, different clusters. df1 is equal to df dot cluster. Cluster 0, cluster is equal to 0, cluster is equal to 1, and cluster is equal to 2. We have to divide 3 clusters into 3 different data frames. Then plot scatter age and income, color green, red and black, like that. We have to plot the graph. Plot scatter km cluster centers km cluster centers, it starts with 0, 0th row, 3 rows, 3 rows are there and 2 columns are there. Therefore 0th and 1, first column. Color is equal to purple for centroid, marker is equal to star, and label is equal to centroid. X label is equal to age and Y label is equal to income dollar. Then plot legend, it shows its labels here. Then it draw 3 clusters, but they are not proper because these are the centroids, but cluster is not proper because here the points are not scaled, and the points scaling of point is required here. Scalar is equal to min max scalar, we call min max scalar. Scalar dot fit df income dollar, df of income dollar is equal to scalar dot transform df income dollar. It scales the income column and age column. Then again see first records, head of that data frame, then age is 0.05 and income is 0.21. It scales into data into 0 to 1. Again we have to plot the graph. Then it shows DF, age and income dollar. Then it shows proper clusters. 3 clusters are there. Then again we have to change the cluster number. See here, y predicted km dot fit. After scaling, we have to create the model. Y predicted km dot fit predict df age income dollar, y predicted. Then it shows y predicted store into cluster and df dot head. It shows cluster, this record belongs to cluster 2 and like that. Then centroids, again we have to draw all the 3 clusters. Now it shows proper clusters with red, black and green, because first cluster is green, second cluster is red and third cluster is black. Now sum square error is equal to array. We have to calculate sum square error. K range 1, 10 for the cluster number. For k in k range, km is equal to, k means n clusters is equal to k, km dot fit d of age income dollar. Then SSE dot append, we have to append km dot inertia. Km dot inertia calculate the SSE for the cluster. Therefore then next x label is equal to k. Now draw the graph. Y label sum of squared error SSE and k. Using elbow method, we have to see this point which shows 3 clusters, and these are the proper clusters for our data. Like that you can use machine learning algorithm k-means clustering. Now you have one exercise. See this. Use iris flower dataset from sklearn library and try to form clusters of flowers using petal width and length features. Drop other 2 features for simplicity, petal width and length. Other features are also there, you can drop that. Figure out if any prediction such as scaling would help here. Draw elbow plot and from that figure out optimal value of k. In our case, in this income.csv, optimal clusters are 3. Like that, use this iris data and you can calculate, you can find out optimal value of k for this using for the petal width and length feature. I hope you understood all these concepts, how to use k-means clustering in Python and machine learning, how to use machine learning algorithm k-means clustering. Thank you. Try to do this exercise